Everyone calls me the responsible one, the sibling who always holds things together. But if they knew what I've done behind closed doors, they'd never look at me the same. I remember the exact moment everything shifted. My mom looked me straight in the eye, her voice sharp but steady, and said, "This vacation is just for the family. Without you." I laughed. Not a bitter laugh, not even angry, just pure disbelief, almost amused at how casually she cut me out. I told her, "Got it, Mom. Have fun." She didn't flinch, didn't stutter. She just stared at me like I was some stranger who had wandered into her kitchen instead of her own son. And the thing is, I used to be the golden child. The reliable one. The one they bragged about to neighbors, to church friends, to anyone who'd listen. That was before Olivia. Before Mark. Last year, I bought a new apartment. It was supposed to be an investment, perfect location, easy to rent out. But right around that time, my sister Olivia and her husband Mark hit a financial wall. Bills piled up, arguments escalated, and my parents were terrified for her. "They have a child, Kelvin," my mom pleaded. "Just let them stay for a little while. Family helps family." So, like the responsible sibling I'd always been, I handed them the keys. No rent. No utilities. Nothing. Just 3 months. That was the deal. 3 months turned into 4. Then 5. Every time I asked when they were leaving, there was another excuse. Mark still hadn't found work. Daycare was too expensive. Just a little more time, they promised. By month 6, I'd had enough. I gave them 2 weeks' notice, told them it was time. When the 2 weeks were up, I warned them I'd be changing the locks. That's when the guilt campaign began. My mom called me selfish. Dad accused me of acting like a greedy landlord. Olivia cried. Mark painted me as the monster kicking his own nephew into the street. And just like that, all the generosity I'd shown, half a year of free housing, vanished from their memories. Suddenly, I wasn't a supportive brother. I was the villain. From that day forward, I was iced out. Group chats? Silent. Sunday dinners? Not invited. And when they planned a family vacation, they didn't even bother to pretend I was welcome. That's when Mom delivered her dagger. "This trip is just for family, without you." That was the moment I realized I wasn't family anymore. So, I let it go. I moved on. Exactly 1 month later, my phone started lighting up. First Mom. Then Dad. Then Olivia. Call after call, back to back. I ignored them at first, assuming it was some pocket dial mistake. But then I got a text from Olivia. "Kelvin. Please pick up. We need your help." I just stared at it. My stomach knotted, but not from worry, from irony. And then, before I could even decide whether to call back, there was a knock at my door. I opened it to find my father standing there, pale, exhausted, shirt wrinkled like he hadn't bothered with a mirror. Behind him was Mom, gripping her purse like it was the only thing anchoring her. Olivia stood to the side, clutching her son so tight it looked like she'd never let him go again. Her face, dark circles, hair messy, eyes red, said she hadn't slept in days. Dad let out a shaky breath. "Kelvin, we need your help." I actually laughed. Not cruelly, but because the irony was so thick I could choke on it. "Of course you do," I said, leaning on the doorframe. They shifted, uncomfortable, waiting for me to step aside. But I didn't. I just crossed my arms and let them squirm. "A month ago, I wasn't even good enough to eat dinner with you," I thought. "Now you're at my doorstep?" Finally, I asked, "What happened?" Mom opened her mouth, but Olivia beat her to it, her voice breaking. "We lost everything." I raised an eyebrow. "Everything?" Dad stepped in, his voice heavy. "There was a fire. That stopped me cold. A fire." Turns out, while they were off enjoying that vacation without me, a faulty cable in their rental house sparked a blaze. By the time they returned, everything was gone, clothes, furniture, even their passports. To make it worse, their renter's insurance had expired the month before. I looked at Olivia. "So, you're homeless?" She nodded, tears threatening. "We've been in a motel, but we can't afford it anymore. Please, just for a little while." The irony almost made me laugh again. Just weeks ago, I wasn't worth a seat at their table. Now, I was the only lifeline they had. Then I noticed someone missing. "Where's your husband?" I asked. Olivia's face went dark. "Gone. He left after the fire. Said he needed space. Packed a bag and disappeared. I haven't heard from him in a week." I blinked. "He left? Just like that?" Before I could process that, I turned to my parents. "What about your house?" Mom's lips tightened. "The basement flooded while we were gone. A pipe burst. The insurance company is dragging their feet on repairs. We can't live there." I actually let out a low whistle. A fire, a flood, and a runaway husband, all in the same month. At this point, it felt biblical. Dad's voice cracked. "Kelvin, we have nowhere else to go." I leaned against the doorframe, letting silence stretch. For the first time in years, I felt something I'd never felt around them before, power. They had stripped me of my family title. They had laughed me out of vacations and dinners. But now? Now they needed me. I let them sweat on my doorstep until their eyes started darting like trapped animals. Then, finally, I spoke. "All right, you can stay." Mom exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for hours. Olivia's shoulders sagged, relief flooding her face. But before they could thank me, I held up a hand. "There are rules." Their faces froze. 1 month. No extensions. "And you follow my house rules. Don't like it? Find somewhere else." Too tired to fight, they all nodded. I stepped aside, my voice cold but steady. "Welcome home." They shuffled through my doorway like refugees who'd rehearsed gratitude, soft voices, forced smiles, eyes that begged for mercy. For the first few days they were on their best behavior, quiet, polite, almost syrupy with thanks. Olivia kept repeating, "Kelvin, thank you. I swear, just 1 month." Her voice was thin with pleading. Dad tried to make small talk over coffee, complaining about the weather like nothing had happened, like we could pretend the last 6 months hadn't existed. But I wasn't born yesterday. Cracks show up fast. It started with tiny things, little annoyances you tell yourself to ignore. A pile of dirty plates sitting in my sink until they fermented into a science experiment. Olivia treating my expensive shampoo like hotel freebies, squeezing it out like she owned it. My mother rearranging my kitchen cabinets because she couldn't find anything, changing where I keep the coffee, the mugs, the cereal like she was redecorating someone else's life. I let it slide. At first. On day 7 I walked into the living room and my breath actually caught in my chest. My couch, my stupid, comfortable couch that I'd paid for and lived with during lonely nights, was gone. In its place sat their old sagging sofa, the one I remembered from family basements, the fabric thin, the spring sighing with every sit, smelling faintly of dust and old takeout. I froze. Olivia was folding my laundry like it was a domestic chore she'd earned. I demanded, "Where the hell is my couch?" She didn't even look up. "Oh, Dad, and I moved it into the garage. Ours is more comfortable." More comfortable for whom? I felt my patience fray. "You're only staying a month. Why are you acting like you live here?" She sighed and flopped down on the cursed couch, stretching like she'd claimed territory. "Kelvin, we're just trying to make it feel a little more like home." That line, "a little more like home," hit a nerve. This was not their home. It was mine. I opened my mouth to say so, but Mom poked her head in, all honeyed voice and placating smiles. "Oh honey, don't make a fuss," she cooed. I ignored Mom. "Where's my couch?" Dad ambled in, wiping his hands on a rag like he'd been doing honest work. "Relax, it's in the garage. We didn't throw it out." His casualness was a slap. I stomped into the garage and sure enough, there it was, my couch, crushed next to storage bins and a lawn mower, looking humiliated. I hauled it back inside, muscle memory and anger guiding me. That night, first time ever, I locked my bedroom door. But locking a door is only paper thin against people who think rules are suggestions. Around midnight, I heard them whispering in the kitchen. Voices low, suspicious, like conspirators. I trudged out, half asleep, and found Dad and Olivia hunched over, their faces tight when they spotted me. "Is something wrong?" I asked. Dad forced a grin. "Just talking." I noticed Olivia's hand curled around my car keys. My stomach dropped. "Why do you have my keys?" She blinked, a flinch that was part guilt, part practiced calm. "I was going to ask you, but I didn't want to wake you." She fumbled with a useless excuse about needing to borrow the car. At midnight? To borrow the car? They tried to look casual, but the timing was a lie. I reached for the keys, and she sighed, drama, then surrender, and handed them over. "I didn't think you'd mind," she said, as if my keys were a communal good. Something gnawed at me, insistently. In the morning I checked the glove compartment, an old habit, and my spare credit card was gone. My heart slid. I checked my bank, $200 drained at a gas station, a few hours after their midnight whisper session. Anger hit like a physical blow. I marched back inside, phone in hand, evidence flashing like neon. Olivia was plopped on the wrong couch, spooning cereal into her mouth like she was at a Sunday brunch. "Did you take my credit card?" I hissed, holding the screen up. She paled for a beat, just a beat, then rolled her eyes like I was the dramatic one. "Oh my God, Kelvin, I was going to tell you." I laughed, sharp. "Before or after you used it?" Her eyes darted, she crossed her arms, petulant. "I just needed gas. I'll pay you back." I let her words hang in the room like cheap perfume. "Like you paid me back for the rent?" My voice was quiet, but it landed. She had no comeback. Mom wandered in at that exact second. "What's happening?" she sniffed. "Olivia stole my credit card." I said it flat. Defeat in honesty is a strange power. Olivia bristled. "It was one time," she started. Mom clicked her tongue, already smoothing the edges of whatever misbehavior they were manufacturing. "Don't make such a big deal out of it, Kel." "Hold on." She watched her daughter take from me and the response is, "Don't make a big deal of it." My jaw tightened. "She stole from me," I said, incredulous. "You're okay with that?" Their silence was louder than any defense. It said more than words, family first, boundaries never. I felt the old familiar ache of being taken for granted, but it was different now, hardened, cooled into resolve. "Pack your things," I told Olivia. "You're done." Her face crumpled between shock and disbelief. "Kelvin, no, I never asked for this. I thought. I was done thinking for them. I was willing to help. You steal from me, and you walk out the door." Mom and Dad exchanged a look, a quiet tallying of loyalties. They said nothing. That was their answer. "All right," I grabbed my keys. "If she's not gone by tonight, you all are out." I meant it. My voice left no room for bargaining. I should have slammed the door on it then. I should have breathed, exhaled, and gone to bed. But I didn't know Olivia still had cards up her sleeve, one last move she hadn't shown me yet. And whatever it was the kind of thing that would make me stare at the doorway in the early hours and wonder if I'd been a fool for ever letting them in. When I tell you I nearly lost it that night, I mean it. I had to get out of the house before I said something that couldn't be unsaid. So, I drove. 1 hour. 2 coffees. My steering wheel got more of my frustration than it deserved. The whole time I kept asking myself, do I really want to throw my parents out along with Olivia? Am I about to be the guy who kicked his entire family onto the street in one night? By the time I pulled into my driveway, I'd calmed down, at least enough to face them without blowing up. But the moment I stepped out of the car, I knew something was wrong. The air was too still. The front door was wide open. My heart kicked into overdrive. I sprinted inside, calling out, "Hello?" Silence. The living room? Empty. The ugly old couch was still sitting there like a bad omen. Olivia's suitcase was in the hallway, untouched. Then, a noise. From down the hall. My office. I ran, every nerve on fire, and stopped dead in the doorway. Olivia. At my desk. Going through my drawers like she owned the place. She jumped when she saw me. "Kelvin, I can explain." I didn't hear a word past the sight of my papers scattered everywhere. The file cabinet I always kept locked forced open like it was nothing. My financial records, my investment documents, my bank statements, everything. I stepped closer, jaw locked. "What the hell are you doing?" She held her hands up like I was the crazy one. "Kelvin, just listen." I picked up one of the crumpled papers, my eyes scanning it. Then the cold realization hit. "Are you looking for my bank information?" Her voice faltered. "No, I mean, yes, but it's not what you think." "Then what is it?" I snapped. She swallowed, shifting from foot to foot. I needed to see if you had any extra money." My stomach dropped. "Extra money? For what?" She took a breath, eyes glassy. "The motel, it's too expensive. We don't have a safety net. You have so much, Kel. I thought maybe if I just..." I staggered back, laughing in disbelief. "Oh my God. You were actually going to steal from me." Her face twisted. "It's not stealing. I was just going to transfer a little. I would have paid you back." "Paid me back?" I barked. "First, it's my apartment. Then my car. Now my bank account. What's next, Olivia? My whole life?" She opened her mouth to spin another excuse, but I wasn't done. "You've lied. You've stolen. And now you're literally trying to rob me behind my back. You're disgusting." Her eyes filled, her face collapsing. "Kelvin, please." I turned, ready to kick her out that second. "Get out of my house." But then she said it. "If I go, Mom and Dad go." I froze. My hand tightened on the doorknob. "Excuse me?" She straightened, her tears gone in an instant, replaced with something colder. "They can't afford a motel. If I leave, they leave. Are you really going to kick our parents out, too? My own sister. Using our parents as a human shield." I clenched my fist so hard my knuckles cracked. "I don't owe you anything, Olivia. Not after this." She scoffed. "You're seriously going to kick our mother out? She carried you for 9 months, and this is how you repay her." That actually made me laugh. "Funny, Mom was fine leaving me behind for that vacation. She was fine watching you steal from me. So yeah, if she wants to go with you, she can pack her bag." I marched into the living room. Mom and Dad were standing there, stiff as statues. They'd heard everything. Mom's lips were pinched tight. "Kelvin, honey, let's not be too hasty." "Are you kidding me, Mom?" I shot back. "She literally tried to rob me." She sighed, exasperated. "She's desperate. You don't understand how hard this is for her." I shook my head. "Wow. So you really are on her side." Dad said nothing. Just rubbed his face, exhausted. I took a deep breath and laid it out. "Both of you, I need to know, right now. Are you staying with her, or are you staying with me?" The silence was suffocating. Then Mom finally whispered, "She's family. We don't leave family." I let out a slow breath. Then I nodded. "Okay. Then you all need to leave." Dad's head snapped up. "Kelvin. No. I let you in. I gave you a chance. And this is what you do." My voice cracked with fury. "We're done." Olivia's eyes narrowed. "You're making a mistake." I swung open the front door. "No, Olivia. You did." And just like that, I kicked them all out. Or at least I thought I had. The next morning, I checked my bank account out of habit. When I saw it, my heart stopped. $33,000, gone. I clicked the details. Transferred. To Olivia. Last night. I bolted to my office. My laptop was still logged into my banking app. She must have done it before I caught her rifling through my drawers. That thieving, lying. I grabbed my phone and called her. Straight to voicemail. I called again. Nothing. I wasn't playing games anymore. I dialed 911. "Yes, I'd like to report a theft. My sister stole money from my account." Half an hour later, I pulled up to her motel right behind the cops. My anger had turned me into something sharp, unrecognizable. Olivia opened the door, her eyes widening when she saw the officers. Her little boy clutched a toy car behind her, confused. One of the cops, a middle-aged guy who looked like nothing surprised him anymore, cleared his throat. "Ma'am, we've had a report that you took money from your brother's account without permission." Olivia's eyes went wide, filling with crocodile tears. "Oh my God, are you serious?" She turned on me. "Kelvin, what is wrong with you?" I stepped forward, shaking with rage. Don't even start. You stole from me." She scoffed. "I didn't." I whipped out my phone, holding up the screen. $33,000. From my account. To yours. You do the math. The officer nodded. "Ma'am, do you have anything to say?" Olivia's tears dried in an instant. Her face twisted, then she let out a laugh. "Oh, come on. It was a joke." I blinked. "A joke?" She crossed her arms. "Yeah. I was going to send it back. I was just messing with him. And he called the cops?" I was so furious I could barely form words. "That's your excuse? It was a joke?" One cop raised an eyebrow. "You realize this is a crime, right?" She sighed dramatically. Check his account. I already sent it back. I refreshed my banking app. The money was back. My fists tightened. That didn't change a thing. She'd stolen it. But the cops? They exchanged a look I didn't like. You're taking her to the station, right? I asked, my voice shaking. The older officer scratched his head. Look, man. She's a new mom. It was a stupid mistake. She gave it back. Let's not make this bigger than it needs to be. My jaw dropped. You're kidding. The other one shrugged. I'm not saying it's right. But no harm, no foul. I almost laughed at the absurdity. So if I steal 30 grand, but give it back when I get caught, it's fine? That's the rule now? Neither of them met my eyes. I pointed at Olivia, who was now smirking behind them. If this was me stealing from her, would you say the same thing? Silence. I swallowed hard, disgust boiling in my chest. Unbelievable. I turned to her. You're pathetic. She smiled sweetly. Thanks for stopping by, big brother. I wanted to scream, but instead I turned to the cops. Thanks for nothing. And I walked out. That night, I made a decision. No more. No more rescues. No more guilt trips. No more being the family's ATM or Olivia's backup plan. I blocked her number. Then mom's. Then dad's. Deleted the family group chat. Wiped it clean. If they wanted me out of their lives so badly, I'd make it official. And for the first time in years, my life was quiet. Peaceful. No late night calls begging for cash. No manipulations. No fake emergencies. For the first time in years, I could finally breathe. So I did something for me, finally. A month later I booked the kind of trip that felt like a middle finger to 6 months of drama, Hawaii, top-tier resort, ocean view suite, private excursions, the lot. I splurged on the whole indulgent package because why not? I'd been giving and giving, this time I wanted sun, waves, massages, and zero guilt. But I didn't invite mom, dad, Olivia, or Mark. Nope. I called the side of the family that actually showed up for me, my cousins Matt, Rachel, and Jake. The cousins who text back, who laugh at my stupid jokes, who'd been in my corner even when the rest of the clan gave me the cold shoulder. We spent a week that felt like a highlight reel stitched together from the best parts of life, learning to surf until our arms were noodles, cocktails that arrived with tiny umbrellas and ridiculous garnishes, late-night dinners where the ocean was a black mirror glittering with lights and the laughter made our bellies ache. I took pictures, obviously. When you're on a trip like that and you've been through what I had, documenting it is part therapy, part proof that you survived. Then a tiny, barely formed idea flickered in my head. Call it petty, call it poetic justice, I call it closure. I dug out my phone, opened the old family group chat, you know, the one that had been full of silence and passive aggression for months, and dropped a photo, me, toes buried in hot sand, sunglasses on, a cocktail in one hand and the kind of grin that says, I'm exactly where I want to be. Caption, Hawaii life. Hope you're all doing well. Palm tree tropical drink. I hit send, set the phone face down, and went back to the sun. 5 minutes later my phone began to buzz like a frantic beehive. The notifications started popping up, at first random, then a cascade. Mom, really, Kelvin? Olivia, are you serious? Dad, have fun. The trio of reactions was predictable, but I couldn't help smiling as I stretched out on my lounge chair, feeling the sun warm my shoulders. I couldn't resist, so I sent another picture, the four of us at a seaside restaurant, forks midair, glasses raised, a bottle being uncorked with the cinematic pop of celebration. Cheers to family, the caption read. Then, silence. I refreshed. Nothing. An hour later, I checked again and saw it. Mom and Olivia had both blocked me. Blocked. Just like that. I laughed so loud I nearly toppled off the lounger. Jake looked over, eyebrows up. What's so funny? He asked. Nothing, I said, grinning, and then added, quieter, just the last page of a really ugly book. I spent the rest of the trip not thinking about it. I surfed. I ate. I slept in a bed that smelled faintly of coconut-scented shampoo and zero history. I didn't text them, I didn't call. When I landed back home I didn't unblock anyone, and I didn't message first. Why should I? They had decided who I was to them, useful when needed, invisible when inconvenient. So I closed that chapter. And you know what? They never came back. No awkward, we miss you, texts, no slow apologies, no feigned emergencies to pull at my heartstrings. They disappeared the second I stopped being useful. For the first time in a long time I didn't feel hollow or resentful. I felt lighter. There's a peace that comes with choosing yourself, messy, sometimes lonely, but honest. I'd traded guilt for sunsets, obligations for laughter, and the result wasn't the vindication I thought I needed. It was something simpler and better, relief. Was it petty? Maybe. Was it necessary? Absolutely. And honestly, I've never been happier.